Hi guys, it's me, yours truly, Beverly Sherelle Johnson, lifestyle health coach and consultant, registered nurse for over 33 years, known as the Uncommon Flexitarian and the creator of Eat What. Eat What is my weekly program that gives you resourceful information and education as to the many USDA and FDA food safety and health concerns. Now, I just don't wish to alarm you, but I also wish to give you solutions, concrete solutions to build your immunity, to build your overall health so that you can look good, feel good, and have a more positive have a more positive outlook on life. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Eat What? In today's program, antibiotics, hormones in chicken, what's the big deal? We are discussing the probably the most popular yard bird in the world, the chicken. Chickens are found on every continent throughout the world and they are consumed all throughout the world. For our topics of discussion today, we will limit our discussion to chickens produced in the United States. Okay? So if you're traveling outside of the United States, please be sure to check the regulations of that country, of that continent, and of that country to make sure that you are compliant with your own food fare so that you can remain healthy. All right? Now, as always, after the program, recipes will be posted in the members area. If you ever miss the program, if you ever miss a recipe, all the information is in the members area in the Eat What group. If you're looking for a recipe or article we discuss, just click on the Files tab and everything that we've ever discussed, everything that's ever been posted is right there. If you're looking for a video, look underneath the Media tab. Okay? So, enough said. Antibiotics, hormones, and chicken. What's the big deal? Well, I'm glad you asked. How many times have you talked to someone about eating healthy, about putting more good nutrition into their body? And the response is, but all I eat is chicken. Well, that might be. And chicken, according to standards, has evolved from what chicken used to be to what chicken is now. Now, what am I talking about? Well, what I'm saying is, as rules and regulations that govern our meat and our meat consumption, as they have changed, so has the market industry. That has also changed. For instance, chickens in the early 1950s, 1940s, and 50s were small as compared to the chickens we see now in our grocery stores. Why is that? These are questions which I hope to answer, and there are articles in the members area that help answer why the chicken is so different and how antibiotics and hormones affect the chicken, how it affects us, how it affects our overall health and immunity. Now, to answer the first question, why are chickens so large today as they were 50 or so years ago, more so than they were 50 or so years ago? There is an answer to that. And the answer that there is an industry standard called plumping. That's Plumping. Plumping. Now, what is plumping? Plumping is simply injecting your chicken with saline, which is salt and water, to increase its weight. Now, some saline injections increase the chicken's weight by 15%, others by 30%. I don't know. It could be more, it could be less, as you look at different packages. But that's basically what plumping is. injecting the chicken with salt and water. So if the chicken is injected with salt and water, when you're eating the chicken, you're consuming more sodium. So not only is the chicken larger, but as you consume more sodium, yeah, you're going to retain more water as well. Now, why did the industry start plumping the chicken? Well, it has to do with consumers. Consumers were demanding that the chicken have less fat. They wanted a more lean meat product. So the market changed to accommodate to consumers' request. But what the chicken producers found out is when they removed fat out of the chicken or gave a chicken a more lean fare, then they found out that the chicken did not taste as good. And good meaning, as we remember, it was a more, um, let me see, it was a more of a muscle than a sweet meat taste, so to speak. Well, anyway, the producers quickly had to pivot in order to get people to eat the chicken that they had now thought that the problem they had solved about removing the fat from the chicken. Well, removing the fat out of the chicken solved one problem. Next problem, as I said, was taste. So now we have plumping, which is now an industry standard. The saline made the chicken meat more juicy, which is something that we all like to have. No one really wants a very dry bird, which removing the fat did did complicate things. It made the chicken meat more dry. So plumping increased the moisture in the meat and increased the flavor in the meat, but it still left an aftertaste of bitterness. So, what the industry did next was to put in natural flavors. These natural flavors consisted of lemon concentrates, sugars, other things, well, that made us eat more chicken. And when the chicken got it, when you ate it, so did you. So did I. If you've ever eaten chicken and you've noticed that you have just gained weight and you're eating everything that would be good for you and and good and healthy for you otherwise, when you notice that when you eat chicken you start gaining weight, this could very well be it. It is the result of plumping. Now, what can you do? Not really too much because it's now an industry standard. It's now an industry standard. So the only way that you can avoid this is to not eat the chicken. So I'm really sorry, but that's the way it is, guys. Now, another thing that's plumping has caused. Now you will see some labels that say low sodium. All right, plumping is still involved there, but in order for the chicken to have the low sodium label, the industry changed the saline solution to a sodium phosphate solution. Yeah, yeah. So you have less sodium, you have more phosphates, and I'm sorry, it changed. Yeah, they changed it from the sodium phosphate was added, and it was and of potassium phosphate is what I'm trying to say. Potassium phosphate was added in order to decrease the sodium, and then they had to change the formula again because now bitterness came back, and therefore there was more sugars, more lemon concentrates, more of these things that just don't help us overall. Okay, so that's one reason why our chickens look so drastically different. And like I said, this article is one of the articles that is posted in the members area. So don't worry, you've missed nothing. Now, there are many different labels for your chicken. There's antibiotics, there's free range, there's organic, there's this, there's that. What's the big deal about that? Well, let me tell you. Okay, free range, free range. The articles for all of this is also in the members area. Now, according to Chickopedia, what consumers need to know about chicken, there are no precise federal government definitions of free range. All right. The USDA approves these label claims on a case to case basis. Wow. So the USDA has permitted the term to be used if chickens have access to the outdoors for at least some part of the day. And whether most chickens, if they choose to go outside or not, is up to them. But as long as they have access to the outside, they can be considered free range. All right. Now, one thing about chickens is that as other animals, they want to stay close to their food and their water source. So if your food and water source is inside, you're going to be less likely to go outside. And okay, we all thought that free range meant they got more exercise. That's not necessarily so. Another label. Oh, chickens labeled as organic. Let me just interject this right here. Chickens labeled as organic must also be free range chickens. If you're labeled as an organic chicken, you must also be labeled as a free range chicken. But not all free range chickens are organic. So that's important to know. You really got to know. You really got to know your difference there. Another label, another industry label, farm raised. Farm raised. This is a very basic and generic marketing term that just lets you know that farm raised, farm raised means you were just raised on the farm. That's it. That's all. That's all there is to it. There's no added health benefit besides for being raised on the farm. And what chicken is not raised on the farm? Okay, moving on. Right. Natural. Under the USDA regulations, a natural product has no artificial ingredients, coloring, or anything such as that, chemical preservatives, et cetera, and is minimally processed. Most of your ready to eat chickens can be labeled natural if the processors choose to do so. That's rather vague, but that is what it is. It is what it is. Organic, the label organic, the marketing label. The USDA, of course, has very specific rules what can be labeled organic, but according to the USDA, the organic label does not include that the product has safe, I'm sorry, that does not indicate that the product has safety, quality, or nutritional attributes that are at any higher than conventionally raised than any other conventionally raised product. So you're paying all the extra money for the term organic, and there's really not a whole lot of difference, unfortunately. According to the USDA, I'll read it again. The label does not indicate that the product has safety, quality, or nutritional attributes that are any higher than conventionally raised product. Wow. Okay. Buy it is all a marketing game. And one product wants you to buy one company wants you to buy their chicken over another company. It's all marketing. But when you're informed, when you know what to look for, you'll be better. You'll be a better consumer. The next label, no hormones added. Now that's one that I was like, well, yeah, that's great. No hormones added. But this is the truth behind that label. Hormones haven't been added to chickens for years. In fact, there is a law against any chicken in the United States. Again, our conversation is limited to chickens produced in the United States. There, the USDA has prohibited the use of hormones in chicken. So any brand of chicken can be labeled raised without hormones. Isn't that something? Okay, okay. However, any package of chicken with that label must also have a statement that no hormones are used in the production of any poultry. Well, okay. We thought that, like I said, we thought that the hormones in the chicken were making us gain the weight. We're finding out now that it is the saline and the sugars and the other ingredients, lemon concentrates, etc., that they're injecting into the chicken that are contributing more to the weight, more of our weight gain and more of our negative health incidences in terms of sodiums and phosphates than anything else. And we thought it was hormones. Oh, wow. All righty. Antibiotics. Finding ways to raise any animal without antibiotics is really getting slim and no, okay? It's there's so much going on out there. You really want your food sources protected. Okay, there is a problem with that. And if you or anyone in your family or anyone that you know have ever had a problem with taking antibiotics here, such as your penicillins, etc., and they've been diagnosed or have been told that they can no longer take a particular antibiotic, such as maybe they had to switch from penicillin to erythromycin or to a tetracycline or any other type of antibiotic because they couldn't take penicillin anymore or another antibiotic. That might be because they are now antibiotic resistant. Now, one train of thought that was early on, maybe about 40 years ago or so, it was mentioned that perhaps human beings were taking too many injections. And I'm not saying that that's not true. That, of course, can be true. And I have not done any research as to find out whether they have finished that argument, whether human beings were taking on too many antibiotics. But one thing I do know is that any antibiotic that is consumed by an animal and then you're eating that animal, just like with the saline, you are ingesting every antibiotic that animal had. There is no such thing as an animal not carrying the antibiotic that it was injected into your body, not unless they go through some type of almost like a detox from the antibiotic before they arrived on your table. So this is something that you need to be aware of. When you ingest what that animal has ingested, then you are also ingesting it. So if the animals are injected with antibiotics on a regular basis for our health concerns, yes. But because of, for lack of a better term, greed, there is a lot of overdoing of these of over medicating of these animals. And when you overdo something, then when you're overdoing it, then of course the end user, which would be us, is affected as well as the animal. All right. And this, as according to this article, the administration of antibiotics is only one FDA approved tool to keep chickens healthy, but it is not, and I repeat, is not a silver bullet. Just like people, chickens sometimes get sick. A no antibiotics ever or raised without antibiotics label is typically only one of a company's product lines. Some flocks of chickens on a no antibiotic program may get sick, just like other flocks, and some have to be treated with antibiotics. These flocks that have been treated with antibiotics are no longer eligible to be marketed as no antibiotics ever, or raised without antibiotics. A no antibiotics program is not a magical program for producing disease free birds. And that's all I'm trying to say, guys. You just really got to be careful. No label is really, really safe. The bird must go through, and this is what I was mentioning, the bird must go through a withdrawal time before leaving the farm, okay, in order to be labeled as as okay, in order to get rid of as many of the antibiotics as it can. Okay. In addition, your FDA and USDA have extensive monitoring and testing programs to make sure that food at the grocery stores does not contain harmful antibiotic residues. All right, and that may be true, and they get around to as many farms as they can. And this is not a slight at the USDA or the FDA, but they're getting around to as many as they can, of course. But then still, the antibiotic that is still in the animal, that antibiotic that has been used that we're ingesting came from this animal. So when you're talking about someone being resistant to antibiotics, this could be a source of where they had the overabundance of antibiotics taken into their system, and perhaps that along with antibiotics that have been taken over their lifetime as well. A couple of more labels and mentioned here, the enhanced chicken products. Enhanced chicken products is another marketing label. Some fresh, raw, and cooked chicken products are enhanced with chicken broth or a similar solution. Now, we all know that chicken broth has sodium in it. So here we go again with sodium. Chicken broth has sodium in it. So we're really not doing ourselves a service there again. So you have to really, really, really read your labels and understand why you're reading them and what to look for. Enhanced chicken products, you might as well say, is just more sodium in your chicken. Sodium is used in the broth or solution of some enhanced products. They say at low levels, but when you consider all the sodium that's in your food in a particular day, even if you're not eating prepackaged foods, which is a whopping amount of sodium and other things such as phosphates. When you're considering any part of sodium, if you cannot have sodium in your diet, or you must have very, very low sodium levels in your diet, you have to beware. I'm not going to say cannot, but you have to beware of things such as enhanced chicken products. Retained water. Retained water is another label. Retained water is often found on packages of fresh poultry. The USDA prohibits retention of moisture in meat and poultry, except for the amount that results from the essential safety practices, procedures and practices, such as chilling and freezing and things such as that. So retained water, when you see that label, that's what they're referring to. All right. It doesn't say there's any sodium or anything, but there is some excess water. An all vegetable diet. Poultry is made primarily, the poultry feed, your chicken feed, your turkey feed, is primarily made from corn and soybean meal, corn and soybean meal. So if you have a label that says all vegetable and you think you're not, you want to stay away from soy, here's a problem right here. Your all vegetable diet that is given to your chicken, given to your poultry, is primarily made from corn and soybean. So if you're trying to stay away from soy, you're not going to do it by eating the chicken, even the chicken that has the all natural diet, because of course the soybean is a vegetable, and it's perfectly okay to feed the chicken vegetable and label the chicken as having an all vegetable diet. But you should know that these ingredients are regulated by a feed control company, but still, you're ingesting soy. So if you want to keep soy out of your diet, you're going to have to stay away from an all vegetable diet fed bird. Chickens, like I said, the chickens that we have discussed today, have all been raised in the United States of America. If you are traveling at any time outside of the United States, then check check with that country's standards so that you can live and you can live a healthy life that is compliant with your food fare. It's nothing wrong if you're accustomed to eating outside the United States, the different chickens and other foods. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you are not, I'm just giving caution. If you are not a world traveler and you want to remain within a certain guidelines with your food fare, then it will behoove you to do some investigations and ask questions, particularly when it comes to something like chicken. When it comes to something like chicken. The one country whose guidelines are very similar to the United States is Canada, our neighbor to the north. So if you did not have a chance to check the food regulations regarding chicken, then you may be okay by eating the chicken because, as the article explains, Canada is the most their food safety and cost precautions are very, very, very similar to those in the United States. So you probably can get away there, but still do as much investigation and research as you can before investing your health into eating a food fare which may not be agreeable to you. But that's all we have today for you today, folks. Antibiotics, hormones, and chicken is a huge subject which will continue to evolve. Now, like you said, hormones, we have found out, and these articles are posted in the members area. There are no hormones in the United States chickens. Okay, that's not true for anywhere else. Okay, not necessarily true for anywhere else, I should add. But for United States produced chickens, we are not adding hormones to the chickens. However, if you are finding out that you are gaining more weight, you're eating everything, you're just eating chicken, and you're finding out that you still can't take the weight off, you might want to look at the product of which you're ingesting, the chicken. The plumping is an industry standard and it includes saline solutions, which is sodium, which is going to cause you to retain water, which will put more weight on. It has lemon concentrates and broths and sugars. All of that contributes to weight gain and overall depletion of immunity as your body is taking more minerals and sugars that it does not need, and it will deplete your overall health over time. Again, if you have family members that are antibiotic resistant, it may be because they have ingested over time enough animals, chicken primarily, but they know beef is also included, animals that have had antibiotics in them. Alrighty, so that maybe along with taking the antibiotics orally or by injection or something could have contributed to a diagnosis that says you are penicillin resistant, antibiotic resistant. You have to switch to another type of antibiotic. Again, as always, check with your healthcare professionals for accuracy of diagnosis, your medical doctor, doctor of osteopathy, nurse practitioner, all persons who are on your healthcare team. Okay. Alrighty. Until next time. I am Beverly Sherelle Johnson. We'll see you next time, next Thursday, same time, same place for another edition of Eat What. Wishing you love, wishing you health, wishing you health at all times. Now, check your labels. Everything recipes for uh, for chicken substitutes are in the members area, as well as these articles for which I have referenced for this program. If anyone has any questions, direct message me at Beverly Sherelle Johnson. If anyone has any recipe successes or any questions, again, direct message me at Beverly Sherelle Johnson or email me at betterlivingwithplants@gmail.com. I will see you guys next time. Wishing you health, wishing you love, wishing you better health at all times. Okay? See you next time. Next edition of Eat What. Bye bye.